Let's compare a lightsaber to an Iaito sword. So an Iaito sword, you guys, is a practice sword that people who do Iaito, the martial art, they'll use this practice sword. It's dull, it's not a sharp blade to it. And the art of Iaito, by the way, is kind of the art of drawing the sword from the scabbard or the saya, and also kind of cutting through the air or cutting imaginary opponents. It's really primarily a non-contact martial art. And that's just kind of that art in a nutshell, but I thought I would just compare, just for fun, the sword from Iaito, which is called the Iaito, to a lightsaber. So the lightsaber in this video, you guys, is a Saber Trio Arclight, and the sword, or the Iaito in this video, is a Toryumon Classic Koshirei, which is sort of a starter Iaito sword. So, okay, one of the first things you notice, well, there may be many differences that you notice right away, but the sword, you guys, has this scabbard, and the scabbard is called a saya. And a lot of lightsabers don't have scabbards. Now, there are a few there are some out there. You could have one if you want. They're just not super common. So that's definitely a large difference. Now, the scabbard also has this cord attached to it, which is called a sageo. And that's intended to tuck into your belt. That's another thing you just don't see with lightsabers much, although, you know, again, you just mainly don't see scabbards with lightsabers at all. People will just attach a lightsaber to their belt with a cover tech wheel or, you know, a D-ring, whatever. Okay, now getting to the actual sword. So this sword blade here is not sharp. Similarly, lightsabers, the ones that we have now, are not sharp, and I hope they never will be. I hope they'll never, you know, be real. There will never be real lightsabers that actually cut. But anyway, that's a tangent. The blade is made of kind of aluminum, probably an aluminum alloy, and it's a flat blade. So most lightsabers will use a cylindrical blade, although some companies like Ripper Blades do make flat blades, although they're not made out of metal. Ripper blades are made out of acrylic, which is a type of plastic, and not aluminum like this. And other lightsaber blades, like this cylindrical one, they're often made out of polycarbonate, the plastic. So anyway, lightsaber blades, you guys, are plastic, and this sword blade for this Iaito sword is aluminum, typically, although there are some steel ones out there, but at any rate. But neither of them is sharp, so that's good news. Okay, now moving to kind of the handle or the hilt. So you have the lightsaber hilt here, and that's primarily metal, and that's pretty common with most lightsabers, although there are different materials. Some can be PVC, or they could be 3D printed if they're not really for dueling, and some could also be made of steel and have like brass and copper and other elements like that added to it. Now, this sword over here, okay, kind of the primary part of the grip area is this cotton part. So this is called the ito, the braid, and that's the gripping portion of the handle of the sword, or the suka is what it's called. So that's a big difference. I mean, you could definitely customize a lightsaber to have this type of design. I've seen a few sort of Japanese-inspired lightsabers out there that are kind of modeled after this, so that's definitely possible. You also have on mine here, I think it's a lion kind of peeking through the braiding, so that's kind of neat too. Now moving up, you have the Tsuba Handguard, and you do see those on lightsabers sometimes, and I know that the Saber Legion sells them for people that want to duel in their organization. That's something you can purchase. They have a nice metal one. You have other companies that sell decorative ones. I know in the past I reviewed a 3D printed Tsuba from Blue Force Sabers. I can link to that below if you want. That's an Etsy seller, and it's just kind of this decorative 3D printed Tsuba. So you can have those with lightsabers, but a lot of lightsabers don't have them. So yeah, there's that. Anyway, let's see. I guess that's most of it, you guys. The other obvious thing is maybe that this sword Well, the sword doesn't have any electronics, you guys. It doesn't have sound effects, although it does have the blood groove, so if you cut it through the air properly, it'll make kind of a nice little whooshing sound. Almost like a lightsaber whoosh, but not really at all. And anyway, no batteries, no sound effects, no anything like that. Although the lightsaber I have here, you guys, is a stunt saber, so that doesn't make sounds either. But it definitely does light up, so it's a lightsaber. It has electronics, and this is not a lightsaber. This is a sword, so it doesn't. Anyway, that's it for now. That's comparing these two items, an Iaito sword and a lightsaber.